Landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess, and I'm going to say every word I know again. Broccoli. That's the only word I know. But do me a favor and hit that like button or you'll never know the greatest gift of them all. A child's laughter. Okay, so while I was at Blade Show, I dropped by the Knafs booth and I talked to the guys there. And I talked to Jamie, the marketing guy, and asked, what are you looking for out of channels to work with and whatnot? And he said, give me an email. And I shot him an email. And we had a back and forth for a little bit. And he was kind enough to send in a knife. And let's get into this thing and see what we got. Gimme. Time. Okay, he sent us a Lander 2. That was very, very generous. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. So, let's take a look at what we're holding, because it'll bother you if I don't. And you know I love you. So, first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. We've got the red G10 right here. We've got their clutch lock, and we got a thumb stud. Let's flick the stud. And we've got 3.25 inches of S35 VN steel. These things run $130 on the website, which for this channel is a little bit high on the price, but for an S35 VN knife with the build quality that I'm already seeing on this is reasonably priced. Good, solid quality S35 VN knives definitely tend to run in the 100 and up range, so there is nothing wrong with that here. Now, this thing also does come with extra parts, extra screws, extra Omega springs, the things that you need there. You've got the clean, sharpened oil thread lock, your maintenance guide, and you got the blown up part of the Lander 2. Guys, start making posters of this stuff. I would love to have this as a poster. Like, that would be so cool. That would be a real cool thing to throw in with a knife purchase, is a poster of the exploded view of the knife you just bought. Now, one thing that Knafs is known for is the scales, because you can buy all kinds of different scales, from the Lunar Kitty scales to the one that I want, the Lunar Surface scales, which if you haven't seen those are crazy. I will drop a link off to the Lander 2 in the description here so you can take a look at it for yourself. But he was kind enough to include a set of blue scales too, which is really, really cool. So what's going to happen is I'm going to carry this how it came, because that's how we do. And then we're gonna get a video with me working on swapping the scales out. And let's see if I'm really good at, if I've gotten better at swapping scales out on things with the clutch lock, if you want to call it that, the not an axis lock trademark. I know everybody has to come up with their own name for it. It drives me nuts because, of course, axis lock is copyrighted. But in this case, it's the clutch lock. So we'll see if I've gotten better at taking those apart and putting them back together. But, what I'm looking at here is really, really high quality. The weight's good. The action is phenomenal on this. I can feel that it's on bearings, but the bearings are absolutely silky smooth on this. I am thoroughly impressed with that. I love a good drop point. He definitely picked the right one to send for me, and I do like the grind on it. We have got what feels like absolutely the slightest possible, if it's not flat, it's the slightest possible hollow grind into the flat on the top. Looking at it, I don't think we have a hollow grind. I believe it's flat. So this thing ought to be extra slicey, which you guys know I like my knives as slicey as I can possibly get them. I love a good slicer, so this should be right up my alley. And, I love checking out stuff like this, especially after carrying the cheap stuff for a while, because then you start to really appreciate the improvement in the fit, the finish, the action, the quality. And, I'm not trying to glaze anybody. I'm not beholden to Knafs for a good review just because I sent something in. Like, you guys have seen it in the past. Like, guys have sent stuff in I didn't like, and I flat out didn't like it. However, I already like this quite a bit. I have taken it out of the box a couple times. I've played with it a little bit, but we are going to carry it and we are going to use it. And, oh man, the weight on it is really solid. Let's get a measurement on the weight. We're going to take the number of grams this way because I cannot find my other scale. This is our electronic edge sharpness tester, kindly provided by you guys. But let's get a look at the weight in grams, because I forgot to look at that in the specs. 85 grams. So very, very, very tiny bit on the heavier side, but it's that kind of weight where it feels really, really solid. There's nothing about this. It's not overly heavy. It's not overly light. It feels really, really nice. And we've got steel liners running from the front to the back, so it's not the partial liner that guys hate. I don't mind it, but a lot of guys do hate it. Yeah, and of course, she do be centrifugal opening, and centrifugal opening quite well. And yeah, so let's take a look at the factory edge on this thing and see how she's doing there. Let's get the obligatory printer paper out. Oh, yeah, that was a really nice cut. That was a really, really nice, clean cut. Little tiny trace of resistance on it. Not the cleanest cut I've ever seen, but those are off of edges that I've sharpened myself on the Work Sharp Precision Adjust Professional. That was a lot of words. Those are ones that I've taken to 3000 grit and polished down to 0.1 micron on the strops. That's how you get them cutting with no resistance whatsoever. Now, how this thing works, if you haven't seen one of these before, is it measures the number of grams of force it takes to cut through the wire on this calibrated test clip. The lower the number, the better. Let's see, I'm already on my second take, so I know what this should be, but you guys don't yet. A 141. A 141 is a very, very good edge. A 141 is a very good edge. That right there is better than a lot of factory edges that I've seen from Civivi, from Vosteed, from Kaiser. A lot of the factory edges we have been seeing have been in the 150 to 175 range. So to see that pop a 140, that is really good. That is equivalent to a lower end steel that has been taken all the way up to 3000 grit and polished to 0.1 microns. That is a very, very good edge. And what this tells me is I should be able to get it screaming sharp whenever I sharpen it after the live stream. Ooh, and the thumb stud is removable, so I'm not going to have to worry about banging into that while I'm sharpening this thing a bit later on down the road because it's a black thumb stud and I'd like to keep it that way. If you guys don't know, when I sharpen things on the Work Sharp, I tend to scrub a thumb stud every time, no matter what, no matter how careful I am. I mean, if you ding up a black thumb stud, this is a great way to hide your shame right here. Black magic marker will hide your shame for the most part, but you're going to know it's there. You are going to know it's there, and it's going to bother you. So, yeah, we got a nice flat carry. We've got a perfectly acceptable amount of weight to this thing. We've got a very, very sharp edge. We've got a very slicey profile on this thing. This is going to be a fantastic week with it. We are carrying it this week, and this is going to be a fantastic week carrying it. My God, I am going to hate putting this one back when I am done. I am looking forward to doing the live stream with it and seeing how that does because, of course, we haven't tested S35VN in a good little while now, so it's going to be nice to see how that does. But, yeah, I can't find a thing about this that I don't like except for maybe the weight's a few grams heavier than I would prefer, but it's right there in the butter zone. Like, it's right there in the perfectly fine zone. Yeah, as you can see, along with some dead skin, it is shaving. It is shaving sharp. Expected that, but I had to try it. You can tell, too, when I've been playing around with knives, because there's one hand, and there's the other. So, yeah, I can't think of a whole lot else to say about this thing that I haven't gone over here. Like I said, I expect it to be a really good week. I expect it to carry really well. One thing we didn't take a look at is the dingus end of the pocket clip, which seems to be pretty well raised up. That should be no problem getting it over the hem of a pocket. That is a nice, strong pull. Like, that is an 8.5 out of 10 pull on it. So that should be just fine and dandy. There is clearance there for the hem of a pocket, so even if you're wearing heavier duty, sturdier stuff, that should be totally fine. I really like that, and of course it's got the recessed screws, which everybody loves seeing. So, yeah, that is everything I can think of to say about this thing. So, all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in. I appreciate you so, so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We got live streams, regular videos. There's plenty of activities. Comments, I love some feedback. Let me know what you think about this thing. Let us say thank you to Jamie for sending this in. That was very generous of him. Of course, I've got my Amazon shop linked off. You don't have to use it, but it's one of the easiest ways I've found to show you cool stuff that I've found in the last couple months here. And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.